Welcome to the Collaborative. I'm your host, Sydney Walker. Today we are joined by Jay Harris. Jay joined ESPN in 2003 as a SportsCenter anchor and is most often seen as anchor of the Saturday and Sunday morning editions of the program. He also often anchors the Monday edition of SportsCenter Coast to Coast. He has over 30 years of experience in television and radio news. So welcome. First up, we have Sid, This or That. So first, I'm taking it back to your college days.
Okay.
SB Ballard Stadium or Chartway Arena?
Chartway Arena, because we didn't have SB Ballard Stadium when I was in school. And we didn't have Chartway Arena, to be honest with you. We had the field house. So I'll take basketball over football.
Okay, there you go. Free coffee or free Wi-Fi?
Oh, Wi-Fi, please. That's easy.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel. Nice
and lastly, yes. And lastly, Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
With your radio and news experience prior to joining ESPN, what did you learn throughout that journey about being versatile in different aspects of journalism?
That you needed to be versatile in different aspects of journalism. Basically that, it would behoove you to try and learn it all, or as much of all as you can learn. Starting back in radio, it's just not about, writing and talking. I had to learn how to edit back in those days, back in the dinosaur days, as my son likes to say. We had to edit tape, but cutting it with the wax pencil and a razor blade. So, I got good. I was a good editor. Just little things, running a board, observing DJs, ins and outs, and just how to carry yourself on the air. You can learn a lot from a lot of different people, not just your fellow news anchors and reporters.
And we often see you on the morning editions of SportsCenter. Can you walk us through a typical day of preparation for you?
Sure. Let's go back to, when was I last on? Sunday. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. So I got there about 3 hours before the show, walk into the newsroom. And in this COVID-19 world we live in, everyone is spaced out, social distancing, masks are required. You clean your station before you sit down. You wipe off the keyboard, wipe off everything, wipe off the TV remote, everything. Sit down, log on to the rundown, and I look for my name. The producer has been there for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. The coordinating producer's been there maybe 2 hours already. And the rundown is set. So I look for my name and I go in and I start writing. I just start with the VO, lead, get my research notes and plug them into the page for whichever game highlights I have. And I just do that for the entire hour. And if there are things that we're going to switch and change around, I'll look to whatever's floated. And I do that too. And I write. You just write. And you keep writing and you ask questions. What do you mean by such and such? Okay, thank you. And blah, blah, blah. This doesn't make sense. This tease doesn't make sense. And we work on it. We change it. And I go to the coordinating producer. Would you look at that to make sure what I'm saying makes sense? And it comes back and he says, it doesn't quite make sense here. I made a couple of suggestions. Try it again. So you rewrite it again and you send it back. And that's the process. And that goes for about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending. So then you get up, go downstairs, I put my clothes on that I'm going to wear, and then I go get breakfast at the cafeteria. And I go grab the breakfast, and I take my breakfast to the set and get to the set and set my breakfast down, put my microphone on and put my IFB in. And if it's my turn to voice the tease before the show, I'll voice the tease before the show so we can record it. If not, something happens and we do it live, we do it live. Doesn't much matter to me. It's going to get done. And then the light comes on 3 hours later, and hello, welcome to SportsCenter alongside Hannah Storm, which is most of the time. I'm Jay Harris, and we got some stuff to tell you. That's my typical morning.
As someone who's been in journalism for a while now, what has been the biggest change you've noticed over the course of your career?
Immediacy, distribution. There's so many different ways to get content now. back again in the dinosaur days. We had three channels. Maybe the PBS station, add that, and maybe a UHF station that would come in. Maybe if it was fuzzy, you had to adjust television. Now there are hundreds and hundreds of stations, and everyone has a point of view. Everyone has a perspective. There are so many different news outlets, and then you have this, add the social media to it. There's just more, which means you have to be more vigilant and diligent to find credibility, because there's some not credible folks out there. There's some folks that want us to hear their opinions we don't really need to hear. They don't really need an out. And deciphering that and getting first of all, getting folks out of those silos, because we'll migrate to those silos because we're hearing what we want to hear, and that's my perspective and blah, blah, blah. That news is not about your perspective. I'm old school. It's about information. It's about facts. It's about, this is what it is, and this is the context behind it. This is a story. Okay, now you decide. I am not going to doctor my story to slant whatever I think somebody wants to hear. Not going to do that. That's not my job. My job is to present the information and ask good questions. So I think there's just more of it now, and we just have to be careful how we consume and where we consume.
And lastly, so many of us are just starting our journey. What's your advice for not only getting your foot in the door, but building a sustainable career like yours?
Don't do it. Go be doctors. Do something else. I'm kidding. Be ready to work. Don't, and I've had this conversation with some young folks. Don't worry about your brand. Just learn your craft, okay? I met a youngster who sent me a message not long ago about how I inspired him, which is kind of cool. I did a speech at a school in the Northern Virginia area. He was in the 8th grade, and he had a blog. And his blog had big name folks because he worked the local area, all the DC teams, the professional teams, the college teams. So in the 8th grade, he had a better resume than I did when I finished college, okay? So I say, if you know this is what you want to do, start doing it. Use the fact that our technology will allow you to set up a newscast in your room and you can put it on YouTube. You can reach out to someone on social media and say, hey, can I interview you? You can still go the old-fashioned way and knock on somebody's door in your local town or wherever and say, I'd like to come in and do an informational interview with you. I've been watching you on television for a while. I'd like to hear your story because I'm interested in following your footsteps and doing what you do. There's so many different ways that you can get involved and start learning your craft, start writing, start learning the technology, start early. That's what I would say. And if you, as you try to put your foot in the door, if you can't get that door open, don't worry about it. Just keep working. Maybe start your own thing again. Build up a resume, talk to like-minded people, join organizations, expand your Rolodex, or just throw more names in your phone, but keep up with folks. Don't sleep on a nice handwritten letter every now and then, thanking someone for an opportunity or whatever. That goes a long way. That says a lot. Just jump in and just work, and be prepared in many instances not to make a whole lot of money, but just work, and all that will come. But work. That's what I would tell young folks.
Thank you so much for your time today, Jay. It's always a pleasure seeing you on TV, but it was even better getting to know you today. So thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate you. Thanks for reaching out.